You helped me build this city, which was very kind of you, but you are about to destroy it because you are all awesome monsters, okay? Now, gameplay is actually pretty easy. We're just on your turn going to resolve 4 sets of things, okay? The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take 2 actions. They can be the same action, they can be 2 different actions. It is your choice, all right? The first kind of action you can do is a move. To move, you take your monster off the feet and you flick your feet, okay? I will warn you, your feet move on this a lot easier than you think. So for your first flick, I would go a little easy, all right? Because there's going to be a consequence if your feet go off the board, okay? Now, if you move and you land on a sidewalk around the edge of a building, you then have the option to take the second kind of action, which is demolish or destroy, okay? When you're going to destroy, you are going to hold out your monster from your seated position at about shoulder height. You're not going to raise it way up high, okay? You can arrange your monster in whatever orientation you want, wherever you want over the building, and then you're just going to let go, all right? We don't want to chuck our monster because you want the meeples to stay on the board, and I'll explain why in a little bit, okay? So that's demolish. Your 2 other options, once you move, regardless of whether or not you're on a sidewalk, first one is throw a truck, all right? Now, in order to throw a truck, there has to be a truck within the neighborhood you are in. The neighborhoods are defined by these colored areas, all right? So this is the red neighborhood, the green neighborhood, the yellow neighborhood, and so on, all right? When there's a truck in your neighborhood, you get to put him on your head, and you get to flick him, okay? You can flick the truck at buildings, you can flick the truck at monsters, at meeples, whatever you want. Now there's no penalty if the truck goes off the board, all right? So don't worry about that. If you flick the truck at another monster, there we go.
Nice.
And you knock that monster down, and I mean off his feet on his side. That monster loses a tooth, which goes to you, and it's worth 2 points. All right? Unfortunately, not yet. Okay. So that's flicking a truck. The last option on your actions here is blow or breath. Okay? To do that, you put your chin on your monster, you take a big deep breath, and you blow. Alright? You can blow on buildings, you can blow on meeples, and you can try to blow over other monsters. Alright? Those are all options. Okay. So you're going to take 2 actions. Then we're going to check for a couple of things. The first one is whether or not your own feet are still on the board. If your feet ever leave the board, and I mean completely leave, if you're hanging on by a toenail, you're okay, all right? But if they completely leave the board, you're handing me a tooth. You've lost a tooth, you're out of bounds, all right? When that happens, you get to respawn in any of the start locations, assuming they're free. Okay? So that's the first thing we're gonna check. And the second one is we're gonna look at the floors. So if there's absolutely nothing on a floor, no meeples, no vans, no other monsters, you get to eat that floor and put it in your stomach, all right? These are 1 point at the end of the game, okay? And regardless of size. I know, that stadium looks so tasty, but it's still only a point. Okay. After we check your feet and we check the floors, we're gonna look for runaway meeples. And this is why there's an incentive to keep the meeples on the board, all right? If the meeples go flying off the board, and again, I mean not hanging by a finger or a hair or whatever, off the board, they're gonna go, and unfortunately, we've lost our real chart, but they're gonna go to the runaway meeple chart, all right? What will happen is, if you're the last meeple on here, so once we get 3 meeples in this row, you're gonna lose a tooth, whoever caused it to happen, and your neighbor is gonna get to to move your feet to whatever neighborhood they want. They're going to move you on the board. All right? For the second row, if you're the person who has the fourth meeple in here, you're going to lose a tooth. And everyone else on their next turn gets an extra action. They'll get 3 actions instead of 2. All right? In the third row, you lose 2 teeth. We repeat the same 2 consequences. And then the last row, if you cause the last meeple, the 7th meeple in that bottom row, you cause the end of the game. Now, you might think that that's a good idea. But if you cause the end of the game this way, you automatically lose. It doesn't matter whether or not you have the most points. You cause the end of the game, so you lose. All right? We would like the game to end in the normal way, which is that all of the floors, not meeples, all of the floors have been eaten. All right. So you're going to take 2 actions. We'll check if your feet are on the board. We'll check floors. We're going to do our runaway meeple chart. Then you get to chow down on some meeples, all right? They are tasty morsels, okay? You get to eat as many meeples as you have teeth, all right? You currently all have 6 teeth. You have 2 permanent teeth, and you have 4 teeth that you're gonna lose over time, I'm sorry to say, all right? So, you are also going to eat meeples from the neighborhood that you're currently standing in. Now, if your feet straddle 2 neighborhoods, you get to pick which neighborhood you're eating from. You can't eat from both, you pick just one, all right? If for some reason a meeple is straddling a neighborhood, he counts as in both. So if you're standing in gray, you can eat him, and if you're standing in yellow, you can eat him. All right, so meeple straddling the line can be eaten from either neighborhood. If your feet are straddling the line, you pick which neighborhood area you're eating. All right? Okay. Do we have any questions on the basic rules so far? Doing okay? All right. This gray one's one neighborhood. This is the green one. Yes. Can you do what? You can only attack the building when you're on this gray area. Okay. All right. Now, your meeples are not faceless monsters. You have personalities. All right, so we're going to give you your personality right now. So take one of these cards. These are public, so you can flip it upright. And there's charts nearby you, so you can read if you need some help. And I'll tell you what they are. All right, let's see what you have. You have a mean monster. All right? Now, if you are the person who eats the most red meeples, you get an extra 10 points. All right? You, sir, are a seer. Now, this is an interesting one. At the end of the game, you are going to guess who has eaten the most meeples. And if you are correct, we'll add them all up. You get 7 points. All right? Oh, you are a pacifist. That's very nice. So if you eat the most green meeples, you'll get an extra 10 points. And you are a scrap merchant. All right? So, your guy's kind of interesting. At the end of the game, you want the fans to be sitting on the rubble, the basement. All right? And for however many fans are sitting on the rubble instead of just on the board, you get 5 points. Okay, you were trying to dump all the vans in the rubble. All right. Now let's talk about meeples for a second. So you're going to be eating these meeples. So teeth are 2 points, floors are 1 point. The meeples at the end of the game are scored in sets, a rainbow set. So there are 6 colored meeples. There's white, gray, green, yellow, red, and blue. All right. 1 of each color makes a set, and that is 10 points. Other than that, your meeples don't count. All right, so if you have a set and like 6 grays, doesn't matter, you only have 1 set. All right, so that's 10 points. These count differently. So you can have a set and like 10 reds, and that'll help you get an extra 10 points. Okay? All right. Your monsters also have powers. All right, they've grown in funny ways. They have extra power to them. So go ahead, pick one of those. And these are public as well. Just one. All right, let's take a look. Oh, your monster is a boxer, all right? So if your monster knocks over another monster, you get to take 2 teeth instead of 1. Okay? Your monster is the Star Dancer. Now, I like the Star Dancer because what that means is if you take a move action, you can decide to take a second flick. All right?
So I can hit a lot of things.
You could. I'm just going to help you move, right? So if you don't move where you want, you take a second flick. You, sir, are a vacuum. Now this is kind of interesting. So when you take a blow action, if you knock meeples off the edge, you can relocate them to your neighborhood instead of the runaway meeple board. All right? So you have no fear when you blow. And you are a climber. This one's kind of fun. So what this means is when you want to move, instead of flicking from the board, you can decide to put your feet on the top of whatever building you like and flick from the top of the building.
Oh my gosh.
All right?
That's awesome.
Okay.
What if I knock down a building?
That's great. You want to knock down the buildings. That is the goal.
No, I mean with my feet.
That's fine. All right. Now, I'm going to give you a super secret power. These are secret, all right? They are one-time use on whatever turn you want. So as long as it's your turn, you can say, I'm going to use my secret power this time. And if there are lists sort of telling you what they are, if you need help. Okay? And so that's a one-time use. And they do a couple different things. If they have a little symbol on the card, oh, you're fine. If they have a little symbol, it means you take that action during that phase, right? What? It means yeah, you're in a phase. Okay. Are we ready to go? Are we ready for some destruction?
Yeah.
All right. Now here comes the best part. Start player is determined by the person who best imitates a monster. And we have a lovely audience to help us judge. I'm so glad you're all here. All right? So, sir, would you like to start us off? Let's hear your best monster. All right? That's a little more Dracula to me, but that's okay. All right? Go for it. Okay. That was pretty good. All right. And our best monster? Oh! You can pass. That's okay. All right, so let's all point to who we think our start player is. What do we got? Yeah, I think I agree. All right, you are our start player. So, what would you like to do for your first action? So you can move. You're probably going to move, unless you want to try blowing from where you are. You're right here. Okay. So, flick. Whoa! You're still on, that's fine. And what would you like to do for your second action? You're probably again going to either blow or move. Which would you like to do?
No, I've walked by one.
Okay. That's good, that's all right. So we're going to put you here. We're going to do a quick check. All right, your feet are still on the board. There's no floors for you to eat yet. There's no runaway meeples, and there's no meeples for you to eat. But that's okay. It's the start of the game. It's the start of the game. Red, you are up. What would you like to do? And that is touching. Would you like to demolish?
Yes. So shoulder height.
Yeah?
Well, no, that means you're saying you're the king.
Woo! All right. We have some start to this destruction. Okay, your feet are still on the board. That floor is clear, so please gobble it up. Yep. Nom, 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 nom. All right. We have no runaway meeples. You're going to right yourself on your feet. Yep.
So I don't get to eat it.
Nope, it's where your feet are, unfortunately. So I don't think there are any meeples in your neighborhood yet, huh? All right. Green, you are up. Well done. Absolutely, that was great. So, would you like to demolish that building?
I would love to demolish that building.
Absolutely. All right. So, hold your monster out. Oh, good. All right. So your feet are still on the board. There are no floors for you to eat yet. That's okay. We're going to put your monster on your feet. You may aim him however you like on your feet there. And that will you'll note that there will be times when you need to be defensive in your monster placement. All right? And there are no runaway meeples, also good. And you get to chow down. There's one guy here, and actually, yeah, this gray guy's also in. All right? So you get to eat this guy,
Okay.
and you get to eat that guy.
Is he touching the gray?
He's on the borderline. Yep.
Okay.
There we go. Awesome. Lou, you are up.
Okay.
So what would you like to do?
I'm gonna move.
You're gonna move, okay.
Since everybody else is doing.
Might as well. Okay. That's okay. So where you are now, you've got a couple options. There is a truck here that you can try and throw off your head. All right. You can try to blow that building down like the big bad wolf, or you can move again.
Throw a truck.
Throw a truck. Absolutely. I like the way you think. All right. So you're gonna hold your monster with one hand, and you're gonna flick with the other hand. That sounds like a good idea. In fact, all of you with your badges, when you lean over, they fall. So if you wanna, there we go. Hold and try not to knock over the other building, but that's okay. Good. Okay, that's good. It's a start. Your feet are on the board. There's no floors for you to eat. There's no runaway meeples, and there's no one in your neighborhood just yet. But that's okay. All right, purple. You're gonna have to move yourself over to touch that gray. Just barely. Yeah, be gentle. There you go. Perfect. And now you're gonna sit, reach out. You can go a little bit higher than that. That's a little too high. Let's go. Awesome! Fantastic. Okay. Your feet are on the board. That's good. You can eat this one. And you can eat this one. There are no runaway meeples. Congratulations. And you can choose to eat either from this neighborhood, there's these 4 meeples, or to eat from this neighborhood where there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 meeples. Yeah. Woohoo.
Well done.
All right. Red.
I think I'm gonna try and
All right, that's one action.
But I can use.
Oh yes, you are the star dancer. Boogie along with another flick. Okay.
And I will demolish.
Absolutely. Oh, we have our first runaway meeple, so hand him over to me. Okay, so your feet are still on the board, which is good. So you can put your monster on your feet. There are no floors for you to eat, but we do have our first runaway meeple. He got away safely, so he's gonna go over here. All right? And now you can pick. You can either eat in this neighborhood. We've got 2 green meeples, or you can eat that blue guy.
I'm gonna eat the green.
2 green. No, there's still meeples on it. Good question. All right, Green, you are up. You are still standing on the edge of that stadium. If you would like to continue to demolish.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah?
What the heck?
Of course.
With your football shirt on, I like it.
Yeah, football. All right.
You don't like Meeple City.
No.
All right, it's okay. You got one more action.
More action.
Demolish again.
Try it again.
There is a truck here. If you would like to put yourself on your feet, you can flick a truck somewhere.
I know, they're trying to escape.
Yeah, let's try that.
All right, flicking a truck. Always a good time.
Now, do I want to flick into my neighborhood or?
That's up to you. You can
Wherever.
decide where you want to flick.
Okay. Now I have containers though.
Okay, we're gonna work on this little by little. I like it. Okay. So your feet are on the board. No floors for you to eat, and no meeples for you to eat. All right, Blue, you are up.
Okay, so I'm gonna move.
This is a very rickety structure here, just so you know. But go ahead. She's got a plan. All right.
Yay, it's okay.
a little bit higher. Just a little. That's good. Oh, well done! Fantastic. All right, so put your monster on your feet. There's still meeples and floors on floors, but you do get to eat up to 6 meeples. 1, 2, and these 2. There you go. All right, purple.
Yeah. Isn't it awesome?
There we go. Good. And for your second action? I know, chuckling. Such a good pastime in Maple City. Oh, wait. That's just going to stay there for now. You got to take your second action first.
That's gonna have like superpowers and stuff. Secret superpowers.
So hold your monster with one hand and flip with the other. That's all right. Reset.
Point him in the direction.
There you go. It's what 2/3. Okay. Next one. Now you can eat that floor. No, you gotta leave it there. It's on the rubble, unfortunately. So, oh, that's good for you. Yes, that's good for you. No, leave it there. All right, but you can eat up to 6 meeples. You got 3 here. You can chomp down. No. And not him. He's still on the rubble. That's all you got. Yep. You could put those guys back because you could decide to eat these guys instead if you want. You want those guys instead? Okay. There you go. All right. Red, you are up. Are you going to still work on that building over there?
Maybe, but I might try to go into the
All right. Yeah, you're on the line. Yep. Okay. Now, you're going to hand me that runaway meatball. You're going to put yourself on your feet. You can eat that movie theater you just destroyed and that rooftop pool. You're collecting a nice apartment complex for yourself. Very good.